Hello and welcome back to my channel. And if you don't know already, it is April. It is finally April. I don't know where the months are going, but they're going somewhere. And anyway, welcome to my channel. It is a brand new month, which means a brand new topic. If you have watched my previous videos, this entire month I'm dedicating it, and maybe May as well, but mainly dedicating it to just job questions, job career advice, job career anything that isn't super duper technical, but also in light of how bad the market is and just like understanding what my job is at the time. Because if you don't know, I'm a consultant for a large tech firm, and even my job, not me specifically, but there's a lot of changing parts within the company. So I have just this video out. If you already know the title, you already know what we're going to talk about. But because I'm a consultant, which is a pretty large field, and a lot of people have speculations and just ideas of what is a consultant and what is not a consultant, I am just here to tell you from my point of view, plus my opinions, what they don't tell you about consulting. Because there are plenty of advice you hear online about what a consultant can do and what they can't do in the long hours, and you build your own company and all that stuff. And I can tell you right now, it is very different for me. It is very different for me. But once again, everything I say is my own opinion, own experience, and just my lived life out of college. And just for context, I've been out of college since 2023. It's coming up 2 years at my company. And hopefully this video can help someone out there who wants to join consulting right after college, or even just do something similar, because there are types of consulting. There is management consulting, there is technical consulting, there's product manager, which is literally just consulting. But anyway, we're going to talk about that kind of thing. But today we're going to talk about the glamour versus the reality of what consulting is, and just show you, open your eyes a little bit of what there is, because so many people can say one thing and they get into the company and it's totally different, and they not talk about it, at least in my opinion. I've watched videos when I first joined my company to like understand what consulting is and get my foot in the door. And I feel like those videos, while very informative or whatever, and they're great, they just wasn't my experience. And I just feel like maybe we could have opened the door more into just like the dark side of consulting, because not that I've lived it, but I feel like I'm always 1 foot towards like the bad side of consulting. And I need to have people understand that this is more than just, you can just do whatever you want because you got a random major and whatever. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's just get into it. So number one, your freedom is not free, right? The biggest misconception of consulting is that you build your own hours, right? You have your own firm, you set your own goals. You're basically a startup within your own individual like job career life. And I guess personally for me, my company is not set like that. We have set clients, we have set projects, we have things that were in the works for years. So when you are joining a project, you can literally join from the beginning, the middle, or near the end, and you are just expected to pick up wherever you are. If you're at the end, I'm so sorry, because you're gonna have to learn a lot of work while everyone else had years of experience. And if you're at the beginning, congrats, but you're in it for the long haul. You're in it for literal years until they either lose money to keep you, or the project just says we're done after 2 months, whatever happens, right? But the biggest misconception is that you are allowed to just be done after 4 hours and go to bed, wake up next day, 4 hours again. And I will say there are days, even months, where I literally have 4 hours of work to do and I'm billing like 40-hour days, 40-hour weeks. That'd be crazy. 40-hour weeks, and I'm just saying I work 4 hours, because it's true. You're being billed for 40 hours, but you're working 4-hour days. That is literally the dream. That is literally the dream. I see why people have multiple jobs sometimes, because sometimes I'm at home, because I am hybrid, but I tend to be remote more. I am at home working 4 hours sometimes, and I'm like, I see how people can work 2 jobs, because there is not enough hours in a day to stretch out 4 hours of work. There really isn't. After a while, you're online, just going through social media, and you're like, okay, time to finish. But on the other side of that, right, you are working sometimes longer hours while still saying you're working 40 hours, right? So without getting too much details, there are clients that have been on, projects that have worked on, where you're getting really close to like finishing it, and it's damn near the holiday. So think December near Christmas. And instead of being with your family, planning holiday days off, staying over your friend's house for Christmas and Thanksgiving or whatever, you're literally working weekends to finish a project that is not due for 2 weeks and you've been working on it for 2 years. And yet somehow at the final stretch, you're working almost 50 hours a week and you're not getting paid for those extra hours. At least not in my company. Some companies pay overtime, but you need like special reasonings, right? My company doesn't pay overtime. It is set salary base, right? And I'll talk about that more later, just because other people have different experiences because they work at different firms. But my company is salary based, right? Especially for what I do. If you're like a different consultant or like a sales consultant, commission. But we all knew that. So I would just say, if you're going for consulting because you like the free hours, you like to have not a lot of time in your hands to work, or you just want to be partying while it's a work day. I mean, I won't say that we don't do that. Or I don't party during the workday. That's crazy. But I won't say that you don't have those hour luxuries. But I will also say, when you're being billed 40 hours and you're working almost 50 or 60 hours a week and you're swamped with work, don't be surprised. Like, they expect you to be the top of your game because they are paying the firm, they're paying you just whatever they can to have a product built within a certain amount of time. And if you or your company is saying, yeah, we'll do it, you have to do it. Even if you're working 4 hours now and then like 10 hours later down the year, right? It is somehow always just the most disproportionate amount of hours ever. You're working the least amount and then you work the most amount at the end. It's the worst, but I make the hours, I just work it. So let's get to number 2. These clients, they hire you for your expertise, but they will question your methods every step of the way. And let me just preface this by saying I am a new consultant, relatively new. I've been in my company almost 2 years. And maybe because I'm just like fresh out of college and people here have been like 10 years into a company and they're still working the same one project. But when they hire you for a certain thing, or you have skills they even hire you for the company for, and they look at you and be like, why should we do this for this project? Or why are you like almost here? You question a lot about why you are here. And let me tell you a little story. Tiny little story. I'll make it real quick because this is a different type of video. When I first joined a company, you are put onto projects, right? You're first trained up for whatever they need you to be trained on, right? Whether it is client software, whether it's just certifications, that'd be really good. That's consulting, whatever, right? First 2 months training, you're good, right? After those first 2 months, you're supposed to be put on a project to help out, whether you're just a beginner, whether you've done this before, whatever skill set you have, you're put on a project. Point blank period. Project, you are set, you right? Doesn't matter if it takes 2 months to keep you there or a year, you're there. Took me, personally, 6 months to get on a project. 6 whole months, okay? If you didn't think I had the biggest imposter syndrome going through my mind at the time, you will be crazy. Because at the time, 6 months go by, you're training up your skills in different softwares, in different certifications. You're asking multiple people who have projects, do they need an extra hand? Can you help out somewhere? How can you like benefit from just not having a project? And everyone is telling you it's not your fault. You're here for a reason, yada, 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 yada. Things you probably hear already if you are a consultant, right? And the one thing they don't ever tell you is that these projects are not built for like multiple new people to show up. So imagine my surprise when it's like I'm one of 10 people in my city, in my office, and I'm the only one who has no project and everyone else does. And I'm also the only one who has a STEM major for the most part, right? Everyone else has more like economics, maybe business, maybe supply chain. And I'm the only one who has like a mechanical engineering, which is STEM. And maybe mathematics is STEM, but like no one really had mathematics that was consultant, right? So your idea of I am here for a reason, I am set here to be better than what I was in college, starts to dwindle a lot, at least in my experience. And I'm on a project now, which is, thank God. By the time it was like 6 months goes by and you're doing the best you could and you just feel like you're being put in the grave and you think you're gonna get fired. You really think you're gonna get fired. But all that to say, they really do just hire you for what you have and then tell you, we don't know if you have the skills, even though you're already at the company. Like 6 months of being paid for nothing, which is amazing. Money is money, but you're not trying to get free money if you actually want to build your skills. We love free money around here, but it does give off like, when is this gonna stop being free and I have to pay it back tenfold? But that sends me to my third point perfectly. The money, it is not what you think, okay? The money is not what you think. And as many of you guys know, I'm based in Chicago, right? We are not the cheapest city to live in. We're not expensive either. You can find pretty affordable things here and get a pretty nice, sizable company payout. You know what I'm saying? So when I say my salary isn't terribly low, it's not. It's livable. I live by myself. I have a nice place. I live alone. It's great. It's wonderful, right? I'm able to provide for myself without worrying about like the next payday, about if the paycheck will be delayed, nothing like that, right? I'm pretty good for myself. I think I'm doing pretty well. A lot better in college, I would say. But when I was hearing about these consultants being paid upwards of $300 an hour, maybe even $120,000 a year for entry-level consultants, I was expecting my salary to look something like that before taxes. After taxes, we get it. It's gonna look terribly like I'm minimum wage, But before taxes, I 100% assumed my money would look bigger, just because one, I work at a pretty big consulting firm that is kind of well known, and two, it is consulting. I'm not gonna lie to you. The way people spoke about consulting, like it was a luxury type of job that asks for the most minimum amount of skills possible. It is. But these people I was watching on YouTube, no hate to them, because their videos are very entertaining, and I still watch them for like how to improve myself now. They're in New York and they're living off of their money, like living. And New York is no small, like they be paying you out, like making you pay the pennies off your back just to live there. So when I was coming in and they're paying me like less than 100K, pretty less than, I'm not telling you my exact, but pretty less than 100K. And I couldn't even negotiate. It was a set in stone number. I was like, where's the money going to? And before you ask, every project that you build upon is a higher number than what you're actually being paid for. Like for example, for each band you are or position that you are, right now you go from associate consultant to senior consultant to manager, right? That's like the bands that you have in my company. It could be different for another company, but 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number you have. But based on your client, they are billing the company that you work for like maybe $100 per hour for one person, right? Let's say, for example, I'm new, right? Whatever. My company is charging my client $90 per hour for me, right? That's great. You think I'm getting those $9 per hour. I am not. I'm probably getting like that $30 per hour, that $40 per hour, and then literally that $50 per hour goes straight to the company on top of the already sizable payment the client has to give to the company just for them to help them. So obviously the company's getting two whole payment system. The millions of dollars the client is giving these companies, plus the leftover huge chunks of client billable fees they're paying per client, per consultant, right? And they can bill up to 4 or 5 of the highest paying ones for a job, and then the company just takes all the money and you're left with what you're being paid as salary. So, I knew it was salary prior. I thought it was a higher salary. So one of the things you have to understand is the money that you're getting is definitely not the money that they're being billed on you. And I'm not sure, it's not a scam, it's not anything crazy. You're kind of told this with your paycheck and the number they give you before you get hired. But then you kind of see oh, the company's getting a nice sizable amount more than me just based on how much I'm bringing to the company. But I digress. It is based on company, and you have to know that before you're even hired. But just to let you know, you won't get like 200K out the gate because you're a consultant unless you're like literally like manager level. And even that, you're probably working for like a smaller firm because they can give that money back to you and not keep it all for themselves, if that makes sense to you guys. But let us keep going to the next point, because I honestly forgot what number I'm on, but let's keep going. Loneliness, imposter syndrome, hand in hand. I swear to you, hand in hand. Now, I am hybrid, meaning that I can go into the office until they tell me return to the office is literally my only way to stay at this job. So I am one of the few lucky ones who still have the option to be at home whenever I want to, right? But even when I go to the office, it can be very bare, right? There are people who would rather stay at home or travel to their client site than come into like the Chicago office. And that's fine with me. I'm not there to talk. I'm not there to socialize. I'm there to work. But seeing no one in a large office can get very daunting. It makes you question why you came. And then to be at home all day makes you feel like I'm just a free agent without the pay. And I'm just allowed to do whatever I want, but I can't see anyone, nor am I allowed to. And then topple that onto the projects you have or don't have because they're not being given to you. You feel like you're just there waiting for someone to tell you, hey, are you looking for a way out this company? Because we got an offer for you that looks like a little sizable severance. So I will say firsthand, when I first joined, I made an effort to talk to people that were in my company when I first got there because COVID was rolling downhill, but it was very so apparent when no one shows up except for the new people that were there. So even though we're all at home right now because no one likes going to the office now that we got a taste of home life, at first we were all like in the office for like literally 3 months. So I would just say if you're trying to get into consulting or you're in consulting or you're thinking about whatever, and honestly this runs for like every job if you're allowed to go in the office or even if you're online, like take time to know at least one person. I don't care if it's within that week, that month, whatever. Like talk to them, let them know that you exist because you will feel like you can't talk to anyone sometimes because you're just staring at a screen all day. And those team meetings, those Slack messages don't cut it sometimes. And I'm an introvert, as we should know. I'm an introvert, so I don't care to talk to anyone. But when I'm working and I need assistance or I needed a project at one point, I felt like I couldn't turn to anyone because I did not want to seem like I wasn't meant for the job, which is where the imposter syndrome comes in. Because I felt like if I have to ask for help, then I'm already losing grounds to be considered a consultant, which almost 2 years in, you feel like that more and more sometimes. But I would just honestly talk to someone because plenty of people are going through it. There are a number of like higher ups, literally partners who are willing to talk to you. Hopefully. I mean, my company will, but some places be a little more strict. They were willing to talk about how they almost got fired like 20 times because they had no projects and they didn't know who to turn to get help. And now look at them, they're partners. So it's always a success story out there within the weeds of looking for these things. So that's why I had to figure out myself within 2 years. That's why I'm still figuring out now because it's never ending. But let's get to the next point, the upsides to consulting, because not everything is doom and gloom. Honestly, whatever I said wasn't even a doom and gloom situation. It was just like the more you know situation, right? So obviously the free travel. The free travel. If you have a client, you get free traveling. It's paid for by the client. You're allowed to do whatever you want as long as it's within the budget they set. Otherwise, you might go a little crazy and you might see yourself at the door. You get free food in some of these places. They do offer snacks in their office, but not like a Google where they have free massages and like a ping pong table. But at least in my office, we get some good stuff too, which I am grateful for even while being remote. You also get free certification, and it gives you tuition reimbursement if you go back to school while still working for the company, which kind of is like halfway, but people have paid off their MBAs just by working here, and I'm not doing that because I think I'm good without one. But if you do want to go look for like your certification, it's like $300. make your company pay for it. personally. If you always wanted to work with like a certain client or company, but you can never apply for it, I have literal friends who work for like these huge companies as clients. Can't name them for obvious reasons, but think of the best software companies out there and they are working for them as a client. They're not getting a pay that they would pay people, but the idea of working with them and getting their software and knowing their project and understanding it and just, you know, potentially one day even going to their company and saying they work with them. If you're thinking about job hopping, I would honestly job hop from a consulting company just because they give you the option to just have those jobs literally line out the door for you guys. And honestly, the last point I have is that freedom is free. Freedom is 100% free. You can go to the beach with Wi-Fi and do your work. No one puts their cameras on Slack, on Teams, on anything. You can go to a cafe, work there. You can stay at home all day, be huddled up on a rainy day and do your work. No one questions, no one cares. As long as you do your work, you're Gucci, you're fine, I promise. Unless it's a different company, they make you go in the office, then I can't promise you anything. I'm sorry for even trying to say that. But all I want to say is consulting is a great company. It's a great thing to do. Great job, great benefits for the most part. If it changes, I'll let you know because listen, I don't want to say this and then change it tomorrow. But right now, I'm blessed to be in this company. I'm blessed to have this job career. I'm blessed to even be here because mechanical. I love the major. I love the classes. I love the learning. But if I was to work where I was thinking about working before this, I would have been stressed, overwhelmed. Like you would see me in a different state. I probably wouldn't even have a YouTube channel because this channel birthed because I had free time. Because the 4 hours sometimes were just not enough to fill my day up, or the 8 hours per day would make me feel like, oh, I did the bare minimum, or I did enough to like make me still want a hobby. And YouTube is my hobby, so I can only be grateful for being consulting because I got a channel. But this video is coming way too long just for talking, so I'm going to end it here. And this is the first video in my new series. I'll figure out the title. But while you guys are here, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below whether or not you want to be consulting, whether or not you want to be a different job career, and what really made you choose it. What was the pros and cons that made you choose that job versus going for a whole new company. But I will see you guys in my new video next week. So bye guys. See you guys later.